Well, Jim, one final question this week, and then we'll get some songs. This one was sent to CornyDriveThru at gmail.com from Mike. What do you tell the talent if they forget a spot during a match? So I guess twofold. As the booker, what do you tell a talent when they come back and they forgot a spot, either insignificant or important? And two, if you're at ringside and you have a wrestler in the ring and you can tell something's wrong, do you do anything?
Well, okay, maybe this is worded in an unwieldy fashion. If I'm a booker and I'm watching a match and two guys forget to do a spot, I won't have any idea because I don't know what the fuck they were going to do. All I gave them was the finish. And you got to go 15 minutes and fucking here, boom, over it up, and the referee, blah, 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 whatever the finish is, and that's it. If they forgot a spot, I wouldn't have known they were going to do it anyway because a booker doesn't tell the wrestlers how to have the match. A booker tells the wrestler who you're going to wrestle, about how long it's going to go, and who's going to win, and probably how. If they botched a spot, if they fucked it up, if one guy forgot it and the other guy was, so one guy's going for a hip toss and the other guy's going for a head scissors, and they fall down like a monkey fucking a football, then I'm going to know and I'm going to ask them about it. But that's not forgetting a spot, because forgetting a spot, the way it's asked, sounds like we just left it out. We forgot to do it. Now, if it's in the finish, then I'm going to have a problem. And then as a booker, I'm going to say, what the fuck? Why didn't y'all do the goddamn how we forgot? Well, you need to pay closer fucking attention because the reason that spot was in that finish is to make it make sense on TV next week when we announce the stipulation for your fucking rematch, and now there's no reason to have that stipulation, you dumb fucking morons. So how do you forget something in the finish? And that was the rule of thumb for a long period of time until guys started, concocting these magnum opuses where they go over every single 1 foot in front of another move for the entire match. It didn't matter what you forgot in the match. Whether you talked about something beforehand, wanted to do something, whatever, as long as you didn't fuck something up where people saw that it was a fuck up, and I'm not talking about missing a drop kick and the other guy takes over. I'm talking about where you guys went to do something and it obviously fucked up to the point where the fans could tell that both of you were trying to fucking do something and it fucked up. That exposes the business. That's bad. That's going to get you yelled at by me. And if you forget to do something that's important in the finish, whether you fuck up and anybody notices or not, that's going to get you yelled at by the booker. But just because you didn't do a spot in the match, who gives a shit?
Did anyone ever get mad at you, or did anyone ever fire back at you kind of with like the opposite of the Eddie Graham argument? Like, you gave me too much. I can't remember all of this. What do you want me to do?
No, because that would have been... Then my or any other booker's response was, well, you're absolutely right. I gave you too much. Here, let me take care of that. Now you got nothing.
What did you just take? What was that? What was that noise?
I took a fucking eraser and went over the guy. Now you got nothing.
All right.
No, that would not be a thing where anybody would ever say, oh, don't give me such a complicated finish. Maybe amongst themselves, the boys would say, oh, God damn, but
For as good as the Midnight Express were, was there ever an occasion where you're at ringside and you could tell something was off with Dennis or Bobby? And
yes. In the match on Shreveport TV and Mid-South Wrestling, whereas Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey against Junkyard Dog, and it was Duggan. It was Dog and Duggan. Or was it Dog and T? I think it was Dog and Duggan.
Dog and Duggan, that was the summer of 84. That was July of 84, I think.
With the powder in Dog's face that got caught by the fan, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, well, because that was just... Bobby Eaton, of all people. Here was the deal. Boom, boom, boom. It was going to go on, and the referee, I think it was Ronnie West, was either going to be distracted or bumped over on the far side. And Bobby was supposed to swing at Duggan, and Duggan was going to duck it and pick him up and give him an ass bump. He was going to go into the ropes and fly back, and they're going to have a double knockout, and then everybody's down, and then I jump up and try to throw powder at Junkyard Dog when he comes to me. And I've told this story before because that's what I threw the powder. there was no air conditioning in the Irish McNeil's Boys Club, and they had these big fans like 6 feet across blowing the air around, and I was on the opposite side of the ring from the fan. When I threw the fucking powder, that giant wind caught it and blew it back at me, and Dog had to grab his face and go down and rub his face in the powder on the mat where it had landed to look like he had some on him. But point being, to your question,
could have just gone into his trunks.
Well, but he didn't want to waste that. But right before that, there is Bobby and Duggan nails Bobby, and Bobby staggered, and he nails Bobby again, and Bobby staggered. He nails Bobby again, and Bobby staggering over toward me. And I look up, and he's like, Corn, what's next? He had forgotten swing duck ass bump. Bobby Eaton, of all people, the greatest wrestler in the world, but it was one of those days at TV, and it's hot, and it's second show, whatever. And he says, Corny. I said, ass bump, right? And he immediately swings at Duggan. Duggan ducks him, ass bump, boom, and then we went on with the finish. But at some point, everybody, I mean, you have a brain fart, or it's just, it just won't come to you. And so that's why I always, especially with the Midnight Express, where I was really the third member of the team, later on and the Heavenly Bodies and Smoky Mountain, with some other guys I managed, they didn't want me to just sit down and have a list of things for them to do or new moves for them to try out or whatever. So I'd, give them a little space, but I always knew the finish, and I had a basic concept from hearing the boys talk briefly, if they were able to talk to their opponents or just talking amongst themselves, of how they wanted it to go, so I could stick a little reminder in whenever it might become necessary. Because at some point or another, everybody except me goes, but I went blank one time when I was a rookie, and I determined I was never going to go blank again. That was my biggest fear. A lot of the guys have dreams where in their dream the music is playing and they don't have their boots on, or they don't have their tights on, they're naked, they can't find their bag, their music's playing, the bell's ringing, and they got to go to the ring, and it's panic, right? My wrestling dream was, I'm going to the ring, I don't know the fucking finish. And I'm screaming, what's the finish? What's the finish? So I prevented myself from ever having that strife by always, no matter what, I'd remember that fucking finish.
Is there a wrestler who was actually specifically bad at remembering finishes in the ring?
Well, I mean, there have been a lot of guys that had their moments, but spectacularly, the Kerry Von Erich thing. Not only did I've told the story, Dundee came in one time in Oak City and asked Kerry was up from Dallas to work with somebody, I think may have been like a Gino, a Dallas match just on the card. And so Dundee's the booker, but he did, Kerry, you're going over. What do you want to do? Sunset flip. Well, okay. And Dundee's in the locker room 3 or 4 minutes, and he starts to leave. And Kerry says, hey, Bill, what was that finish again? Kerry would write in black Sharpie on his hand the finish. But then he'd start sweating. I've seen it a time or two. He'd start sweating. And if you ever see a video of one of his matches where he's looking at his hand and it's kind of taking him a second, the finish would wipe off, right? I've had guys that worked with him tell me that Flair said that one time, said his fucking finish wiped off. So it just depends.